It's great to be here with you today, and thank you for joining us at the HUD Innovation in Affordable Housing Student Design and Planning Competition. My name is Jean Lynn Powell. I'm the General Deputy Assistant Secretary in HUD's Office of Policy Development and Research, and welcome to all of you. We're very excited here at HUD for this final competition and the inaugural year of this competition program. I'm going to start with just a brief slide presentation just to share a little bit of background on this program. Okay. So as you'll see here in this first slide, these are the goals of the competition. We at PD&R created this competition because we really wanted to encourage innovation in affordable housing, raise practitioner and future practitioner capacity, and foster cross-cutting team work in design and community development. We also wanted to encourage multidisciplinary teams. So you see, eligible teams consisted of 3 to 5 students from at least 3 different disciplines, one of which had to be a non-design related discipline. So for example, students on our teams represent a variety of fields including law, construction management, real estate, urban planning, natural resources, architecture, and others. So the competition was divided into 2 phases. During the first phase, teams proposed solutions keeping these 5 general elements in mind: planning, context, and analysis, building solutions and technology, community development solutions, site-specific illustrations of new and redeveloped sites, and schedule and finances. We're pleased to have as a partner the Housing Authority of Bergen County, New Jersey. And I want to personally thank the Executive Director, Domingo Sinade, for his leadership, as well as Ms. Lynn Bartlett, who is now acting as the Executive Director. And we're fortunate that she's able to join us here in person. Welcome. So the teams are proposing solutions in response to a project being undertaken by the Housing Authority, which involves providing housing for homeless veterans, plus reuse of a historic building called the Peter de Bon House. And you'll see 2 pictures in this slide. One's a historic photo. So on your upper right, the de Bon House was first built in 1770 and has most recently been used as the American Legion outpost. And you'll also see at the bottom left what the house looks like today. So with regard to the Phase 1 submissions, they were evaluated by a jury of 5 experts in the field. The jurors, the majority of whom are here today, they were invited to visit the site in Bergen County, New Jersey in March. And these teams, they spent the day touring the site and hearing from the community members, including the American Legion members and the Executive Director of the Housing Authority. Here you see a couple of pictures of the event. Okay, so with that brief overview, here are the 4 teams, and we'll be hearing their student presentations. So we have a team from New York University and Columbia University. That's a joint design team. Then we'll hear a presentation from the Ohio State University, followed by University of Michigan, and then the 4th team is from New York University. I also want to take a minute to thank our jurors today. They've been on this journey with us, and they've been very supportive. Julie DeGraff Velasquez, who's Vice President, Project Manager at McCormick Barron Salazar. David Eisen, who's a Principal at Abacus Architects and Planners. Katie Swenson, she's the Vice President of National Design Initiatives at Enterprise Community Partners. Deborah DeSantis, President and CEO of the Corporation for Supportive Housing and Urban Development. And Nina Janapal, President and CEO of the Arlington Partnership for Affordable Housing. Thank you very much. Later this afternoon, we'll be joined by our newly confirmed Assistant Secretary for Policy Development Research, Catherine O'Regan, as well as HUD Secretary Sean Donovan, who's going to announce the winners today. So be sure you're back in the auditorium or tuned in on the webcast at 4:15. I also want to take time to thank staff, Rochelle Levitt, who is our Director for Research Utilization Division, as well as Claire Desjardins, for their leadership on this inaugural program. They were able to turn this concept that they developed 2 years ago into reality. So thank you. So with that, I'll turn to team number 57 from New York University, Columbia University, to start things off.
I'm going to move this so you can see us properly. Sorry.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Eugene, judges, fellow graduate students, and the teams at Stephen Winter Associates and HUD for coordinating this competition. My name is Adina David. I am currently a graduate student at New York University. My fellow teammates present today are Anna Arsler and Eric Blair Joannou from Columbia University. Jason Fleisig and Matt Meskel from NYU, who couldn't be here today, round out our Team 57. Our backgrounds are diverse and complementary. We all have worked or currently hold positions in real estate development and finance, architecture, and urban planning. We are excited to present our vision for the Peter Debon Village in the year 2024. Secretary Donovan has been working hard with President Obama to uncover innovative ways to expand housing for veterans. Furthermore, our understanding of this project is also that it reflects an effort to expand the conversation between universities and housing authorities, two entities whose goals and interests often align, but who might not necessarily work together to facilitate change. Ooh, that sounded different. Thank you. Beyond the demand for housing, local communities across the United States can stand to benefit from renewed, rehabilitated, expanded, or newly accessible visitable spaces. With our interdisciplinary team, we sought to combine our strengths in planning and design as well as finance to innovate in the housing space in a few different ways, namely, a multi-layered approach to community intersections within and outside of the site, rehabilitating an older building to restore a piece of history while concurrently harnessing the natural environment to facilitate rehabilitation for potentially disabled veteran residents, recognizing readily available green building technology and innovation beyond the current standard, and finally, understanding available sources of financing and putting those to work can result in excess capital available to affordable housing developments, which can be used for community projects. Following our conversations with community leaders at the site visit and later with experts in the field, the team envisioned a beautiful space taking shape around a restored Debon house. The key client, as we saw it for this project, was a veteran recently returned from serving our country abroad, or one of the many on the waiting lists for housing, perhaps dealing with readjusting to life at home, suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, or trying to overcome a physical disability. This client should have access to services, transportation, education, employment, but also to privacy and rehabilitation facilities. Beyond that, we feel we've created a space that we, as young adults, would want to go to, and that could be a destination for the greater community. I now turn it over to Eric to detail the community in which this project is based.
Thanks, Adina. So as you can see on the leftmost board on our map, this area of Bergen County is replete with pockets of veterans, with numbers in some census tracts reaching over 400. The census tract on the left and on the top right. Furthermore, we found that New Jersey's unsheltered homeless population has increased 22% between the years 2011 and 2012. We saw through our research that there was a clear mandate for housing for these servicemen and women, homeless or not as we see it, and that these which informed our design and programming. Fortunately, Emerson is also relatively close, though unfortunately only by car, to a train station, several bus stations, a commercial corridor that provides jobs and services, and of course a number of veterans organizations, one of which we had the chance to meet the American Legion at the site visit. Bergen County Community College even provides supplemental vocational training close by in Paramus for those in need, inclusive of course, veterans. To this end, we see our proposal for the Peter de Bon Village as more than simply a housing project, and a comprehensive support system for homeless veterans. We see this as a community center and a networking hub for veterans throughout the tri-state area, and to an extent, the northern New Jersey non-veteran community at large. Through a number of programming features, some of which Anna will detail later, we hope to balance the privacy that these veterans desire with the nexus of culture and community that the Peter de Bon Village can become, in our opinion. The 2012 census also illustrated for us, as we can see here, that the surrounding area has sizable numbers of individuals between the ages of 18 and 44, a number of families, many with young children. Such a community, we felt, needs access to healthy local food, a curated understanding of local history, and a means of sharing and congregating. To that end, part of our rehabilitative project was to rehab the de Bon House, which we had the pleasure of visiting at the site visit last month. We've planned for a number of programming options. As might come naturally, we propose rehabbing and then recreating the original kitchen and basement space with replica features from the period that could be exhibited in their entirety as an interpretive space for Dutch colonial New Jersey living in the 18th century. We would showcase as many original features, such as beams, which we saw, as possible, and bring in replicas when necessary. We would then hope to reuse the two current common spaces while maintaining the 19th century fireplace and hopefully finding the original front door that Amy de Bon so hilariously pointed out was hidden somewhere in the wall. We would reuse these spaces as educational and community spaces. The southern room would serve as an extension of the interpretive museum space in the kitchen and the basement, with rotating exhibits curated by local agencies, much like the Bergen County Historical Society stewards the Steuben House, which is another Bergen County historical home in a very similar style. The other room, which is currently the bar, would be stewarded by the American Legion, as it is today, and be used as a meeting and social area that would be able to produce income as an attractive rental meeting space. Outside, we propose further linking Peter de Bon Village to the greater community by establishing a cafe named for the adjacent Emerson Woods, which you can see to the bottom right. We would call this cafe the Woods Cafe. The cafe would sell products using produce from the resident-maintained garden and produce income for the site as well. The original hearth would also be rehabbed and provide warmth for visitors during the transitional months. Given the multiple uses of the new site, it would need to be staffed with a property manager who could oversee the careful stewardship of the site and many of its new uses. We propose, as part of his or her pay package, a small apartment where there currently exists upstairs. Our last linkage to the community would be a series of art installations along our site pathways with contributions and curatorial work done by local artists. These temporary, low-cost installations would further beautify the landscape and in some cases serve as filters between uses and neighboring sites. Generally, we felt that our understanding of communities across the world, families, and life's nuanced changes helped us to go beyond the numbers and delve into what the community truly needed.
In short, we propose 3 buildings with 8 units each for a total of 24 units at the site. Each unit will be allocated 1 parking space near the unit front entry, with an additional 20 spaces near the de Bon House for guests and visitors. All parking surfaces will be constructed of permeable pavers to reduce stormwater runoff and to create a natural aesthetic throughout the site. Our team will seek a municipally sponsored affordable housing overlay, an MSAHO, to realize the development. Under MSAHO, 100% of the houses would be affordable to low and moderate income persons, those earning less than 50% of the area median income. A key element of our design is the 1 square mile garden area, which lies along the southern periphery of the site. The garden provides activity and leisure for the Debon residents. It is a form of income for the Emerson Woods Cafe, located in the Debon House, and it creates a uniform landscape between our site and the houses which border our site to the south. A 1,500 square foot gazebo at the garden's hearth provides a place where residents can plant seedlings, wait for a shuttle bus to pick them up, or to have encounters with their neighbors.
This is the gazebo right over here. Not very clear with the pointer.
The gazebo has temporary canvas walls which can be rolled down in winter, and this combined with space heaters located inside the gazebo allows for multi-seasonal use. The Bergen County Master Plan has indicated a preference for expanding transit throughout the region, and so we propose a shuttle bus which may be driven by the Veterans Association volunteers, which would link the Debon House. The shuttle bus, may I see that?
Yeah.
Sorry. The shuttle bus would be able to enter on, this is Main Street, through, and then it would circle through the site, and then right in front of the gazebo, you could wait either indoors or outdoors for the shuttle to pick you up. And this would connect to the neighboring train station as well as a bus station about a mile and a half away. Rehabilitation is a central theme to our design, both in the natural landscape as well as in the built environment, that the houses, and with people. In such, we propose a 2-mile path. So you can see next to the permeable paver roadway, you have these tarmac paths, which can be accessible by wheelchairs, rollerblades, bicycles, and these paths are at varying levels of difficulty throughout the site. Some of them include steps, some of them have a 1 to 20 slope, and some may have a steeper slope, something in the order of 1 in 12. And we thought that residents can choose to either spend time alone wandering these paths, or it's a place that people who come to the Emerson Woods Cafe can also wander the paths and enjoy the site. We recognize that the existing elevation of the site is a bit unique to the neighborhood, and we decided to capitalize on the existing elevation by actually raising the center of the site right about here 4 feet and creating an undulating landscape in which people could experience as they move through the site. Privacy and the public spaces and private spaces and semi-public spaces are important. And so each of the units has a private balcony and then a shared balcony. So they can choose at different points throughout the day whether they want to see someone else or maybe have a little bit of time to themselves. On the side of green building, we feel that we have a responsibility to our peers and to the future to build this house in the most, using existing technologies. This includes low-hanging fruit as well as really thinking outside the box. So small things such as composting facilities, the garden house will host a compost that is sort of a demonstration plot, and all residents can bring their compost there. There will be a gray and black water system, so all of the toilets will be vacuum flush toilets. So what it does, this means that usually if you have a composting toilet, it has to be gravity fed, but with a vacuum flush toilet, you can put it about 70 feet away from the existing toilet infrastructure. So let me just go back here. This is actually where the gray and black water treatment pond would be, and the vacuum system would go to 2 cisterns underneath the ground, and the gray water, which is the kitchen and the bathroom sink water, would flow through a series of 3 wetland ponds with various irises and cattails. On top of all of the units, this is a cluster of units, so there's 8 units, it's one building, and they're oriented in varying degrees to create this level of public and privateness for each individual. And we really felt that this is a low-density residential community, and people living here, I think, would want to feel that they're a part of this community and not living in public housing or low-income housing or even an apartment unit. And so by orienting the door, as well as allowing a separate entrance for each person, it gives an aesthetic feel as well as a psychological feel that this is your home. It's your house, and it fits in as well as anybody else's house would fit in here. All of the fixtures, the shower heads and the faucets would be aerated, and the toilets would be low flush toilets. And again, these are all simple things that can be done to reduce consumption of water and in some cases electricity that aren't done often enough. And these would be a priority in our construction. We would construct the houses out of wood using mostly reclaimed lumber. And we would use all of the rainwater from the roofs, of both the garden house as well as the 3 building units for irrigation of the 1-mile garden. At the unit level, this is 650 square feet per unit. One of the ways that you can reduce the energy bill of a unit is by increasing the insulation while still allowing for enough ventilation to flow through the house. And so we would have walls that are about 1 foot thick with windows facing the south and some cases southeast and southwest facade. And you enter here, this is the kitchen area. All ground floor units are ADA accessible, and the upper floor units require stairs to get up to the next level. But they could be retrofitted to be, they're ADA adaptable, is what they are. And then here, what we realize is that if you're a veteran, and yes, you have a great rent on a house and it's a beautiful house, you maybe don't want to stay living by yourself for your entire life, or you might have visitors you want to come stay with you. And so we included a small loft area, which could be used as an office. It could be used for storage, but it also could be a bed if you have a spouse or a family member or someone who you want to stay with you. And this hangs out over the side of the unit like a balcony. And then we have bathroom, shower, and then this is the private balcony that one person could choose to be by themselves, and then the public shared space is out the front door. This is a ground floor unit.
Thank you, Anna. Now, how do we make this all possible? Our financial model was customized for this development to account for the innovative amenities, the green technology, and other special features that may initially increase costs, but over the lifetime of the building, these will reduce operating expenses. The sources of financing considered require that the general contractor be paid Davis-Bacon wages. Thus, our construction budget reaches a total of $6 million, approximately, with hard costs priced at $165 per square foot for the entire project, including the new units and the rehabilitated DeBond house. Given that this proposal is for the Housing Authority of Bergen County, land costs are kept at $0. Based on our understanding of the market, we identified 2 sources of potential financing most appropriate for this project, namely the 4% low-income housing tax credits, or LIHTC, and the HUD 221D4 mortgage. The LIHTC program is an indirect federal subsidy used to finance the development of affordable rental housing for low-income households. The credits are non-compete and sold to investors to raise capital and reduce the need to borrow funds. This low-cost form of capital thus affords the ability to offer lower rents. We assume that the Peter DeBond Village will be a project-based Section 8 development in which tenants pay 30% of their monthly adjusted income towards rent, while Section 8 vouchers cover the difference. And our assumptions were based on a fair market rent for 2014 in Bergen County of $1,230 per month per unit, and utility reimbursements of $117. You could see that the bottom here on the left. Securing the project-based vouchers would enable us to obtain our FHA loan at more favorable terms with a lower DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, and greater loan-to-cost proceeds. The HUD 221D4 mortgage is the largest non-recourse construction and permanent type of debt available with great rates and loan proceeds of up to 90% of the total development cost. The 40-year amortization would also keep debt service low. Additionally, commercial use is allowed for up to 10% of the total rentable area and 15% of their gross income, which we took into account with Woods Cafe. If we were unable to obtain the Section 8 project-based voucher, the subsequent changes in underwriting would decrease our eligible loan amount. In this case, we would move to first try to obtain project-based HUD Veterans Affairs Supportive Housing, or VASH vouchers, as well as equity or soft debt sources to fill our capital stack gap. Some sources identified for this additional capital are the Home Funds, Community Development Block Grants, and the New Jersey Economic Development Program, which are all applicable to this project. Our development proposal includes structuring a joint venture partnership with a private developer who would receive half of the total developer fee underwritten, or $410,000. The remaining proceeds would be directed back into community program funds at the Peter DeBond Village. So that's the $410,000 on the right. The remaining additional revenue can be generated for these funds from building operations, as the cash flow after debt service is approximately $28,000 per year. Eric?
To briefly close, because I know we're going over a little bit, we hope that we're able to convey to you why we feel our community intersections, green building schemes, rehabilitative designs, and cost efficiency would add value to the conversation on affordable housing. We illustrated for you what the Peter DeBond Village can become in 2024, and what the greater community in Bergen County, for the greater community in Bergen County, how its designs and materials can innovate, how involved parties can finance this endeavor as well. We hope that you can now envision such things as cyclists running from around the state of New Jersey, stopping by, enjoying a homegrown salad at the Woods Cafe, a disabled veteran rehabilitating herself on the community's various fitness paths of differing levels, or Bergen County middle school students touring the newest installation of 18th century Dutch farm tools at the DeBond House. We hope that we were able to convey all of this to you. We thank you for your time, and that's our proposal.
Okay, I'm in the center here, so I'm just going to open up with questions for the group and ask my colleagues here to join you. Thank you for your presentation. Appreciate each of you having the opportunity to speak. My question, I think, is primarily, I'd be interested in hearing from each of you, and Anna, I might ask you to go first. What do you think is most sort of innovative about sort of the physical design and layout of your site, your landscape, your buildings? What's the piece that excites you the most about the innovation in your design?
That's not a hard question. It's an adventure. So the site, the orientation of the buildings, their juxtaposition towards one another, and the topography, it celebrates that the natural beauty, but as well as this like social complexity that we have. And a theme that kept coming through all of our minds was, how do you link the future and the past? How do you take something that may be a little old and stale and make it amazing and cool and really something that we all would look forward to? And I think our proposal does this. It's a place where you can connect with the past, but you also create something in the future through its diversity. It's a very diverse landscape and housing structure.
I don't mean to be redundant, but I would basically highlight the same thing, except with a focus more spatially on the fully harnessed topography, but not just that, the historical topography. This site is very, very much higher than all the rest of the sites around it. It was the original elevation of possibly half of Bergen County. As homes, single-family homes, mostly, but some commercial areas were developed around the site, the properties were leveled off. This is the only site in the area that still retains this elevation and this original topography, at least let's say 300-somewhat-year-old topography. The fitness paths that are rehabilitative for individuals on our site are also, in a sense, rehabilitative and connective between time and space. That, to me, is the most exciting part of of the site of our proposal.
And as a real estate professional, I always think about how does the project make money, or if it does. And in this case, through our assumptions and our calculations, it seems that it would. And these funds can go to create community programs for the residents and actually, innovate in that sense, because you can provide resources for them within the community to really engage with them and give them something to do, create a very lively environment. So that was my take.
I was wondering if you, and I really appreciate your aspirations and your description of what your intentions are. Could you, and not, again, to sort of, is it possible to take the laser and sort of walk us through in 35 seconds or a minute the topographic issues and the spatial issues that you think are making this work really well? Because I understand the words, and then I'm looking at this and a sense of how they work together.
So this, the rehabilitation paths that we're talking about, they start here, and you walk along this path, which parallels the permeable paver road, but is slightly at a distance. And then this is the highest point of the site. And this is the gray water treatment pond. So you would actually kind of walk through the gray water treatment pond. You could choose to then loop back around to where more people are and enjoy the garden house, or you could continue on to the southern periphery of the site and perhaps walk through the produce and flower gardens all the way back to the beginning. So it's in one sense like a nature course, sort of, but you can also hang out here for the day on these benches and read a book if you want.
If I may, in terms of the elevation, that's why we discuss the differing levels of of difficulty for these sites. Because of the change in elevation, you can choose these 3 different paths, depending on what you might want to rehabilitate, or how much you might want to exercise based upon the elevation, and that's how they were designed.
And
It slopes
how does the vehicular traffic work with or against that, the loop around the building at the top, bringing cars through as opposed to, let's say, keeping them more in the area of the parking lot and having the rest of it be for pedestrians? What was your thinking on that?
So we wanted people who lived there to feel it was a home, and to be able to have, in some cases, they need easy access from the front door to the car. And so choosing to locate the parking spaces adjacent to the unit gives someone, it's connection with, it's their place. On the other hand, we fully recognize not everyone would have a car, and that is why we chose, these hexagonal pavers that have grass growing in the middle. So in the case that nobody in this building has a car, it's actually a patio, and you would use it to hang out or play basketball or wait for your friend or just sit in the sun if you want. And the cars driving along this loop would not be going fast. Again, it's permeable paver, it's not a highway, and the turning radius is quite tight. You can't go that fast. And so this is really the loop is meant for ease of residence, to get in and out, to have someone pick them up. They don't have to wait in the rain and the cold out here on the side of the road, which is quite a distance from their home. But visitors would park here, and also this overflow parking, this site, the cafe will be bustling, the gardens will be in full bloom, and everyone who drives by would say, what's going on there? And so we decided to put parking over here, 15 overflow spots, so that you could just pop off the side of the road, walk across the street right here, and come have a cup of coffee in the cafe, and learn about what's going on at the DeBon House.
One of Anna's friends and colleagues told, excuse me.
Let me interrupt you. Let's see if there are other questions from the
Yes, thank you for your presentation. Can you tell me how the financing tools you used created any constraints or changes in your design or site plan work?
Not really. We did have to go back and increase a little bit, our budget a little bit. So actually for the new development, the hard costs are at $175. Typically for a new development in Bergen County, you maybe look at, a traditional conventional development, you would look at about $100 to $150 of hard costs. And we did give a little more allowance, but the source of financing did not limit us, so we were able to increase the budget, and we feel pretty comfortable with our underwriting that we would be able to obtain the tax credit proceeds and the FHA loan.
If we actually have a pro forma.
We do have a pro forma if you would like to consult
In
it. I don't know if it
detail
was allowed.
that we can pass out if people would like.
Which was customized
Sorry, yeah.
by a model customer.
Okay.
We have time for one more question.
Obviously, there are a lot of different things happening across the site. You've got sort of a private component with the Devon House and its operations. You've got apartments that will be under the tax credit program. What was your sense about how this would be managed in terms of property management, and how you would be able to unite all these different uses in sort of a cohesive living environment?
May I?
Well, go ahead. We underwrote to property fee.
Okay.
I was going to mention real quickly, we did underwrite to a property management fee just for overall groundskeeping.
And we
but
included the salary,
Oops, sorry.
a salary.
we do have payroll in our underwriting as well for one potentially full-time employee to be there.
And in terms of further management, there was actually a catering company that catered to the site visit group, Seasons, which I believe works with a lot of underserved members of the community and gives them jobs. We thought, I neglected to mention that we thought that we would perhaps contract out the management of the cafe to Seasons. In terms of the historic preservation, conservation, et cetera, I mentioned the Bergen County Historical Society. There is a similar, you all might be familiar with the Steuben House as well, which is a similar 18th century colonial Dutch home that's stewarded by the Bergen County Historical Society. We feel that there are a number of civic and cultural groups, even in New York City, that would be very interested in conserving the property with their own funds and staff, et cetera. In terms of course, our own financing, et cetera, we have one full-time staff person who is given housing, as I mentioned, in the apartment upstairs, and we factored in the underwriting of them.
And lastly, the veterans would have
Anna, I'm sorry. I think we're going to have to move on to the next group.
No worries. Thank you.
But thank you all very much for your presentation. Thank you.
you.
Okay, welcome.